Hello, authors. We are back with a very important conversation. Today, we are talking about your first 10K from your first book, and this is part 1 out of 6. This is a 6-part series, and we are going to be breaking down. I'm going to be breaking down for you how to get your first 10K from your first book. Okay, so why your first book? I specialize in helping people get their first book out the way so that anything that you create after that will be a massive success. I want you to get it right the first time and knock it out the park so that you understand what it feels like to be successful. And so you can duplicate that on the next round if you decide to write another book. Some of you may decide not to write another book. You might go into other careers because lots of different things are going to open up to you as you go through and you continue to pursue your writing. Okay, so real quick story about me, and then I'm going to jump right into this because this is part 1 out of 6. And I want you to get all the juicy morsels that you can get. This is probably going to be an hour-long training. So I need you to have your pencil, your paper, you need to have your water ready, and get a comfortable place to sit, relax. If you're driving, you can listen to this while you're driving. You don't have to be watching the screen. You can just listen. And the information will go in just as well. Okay, so a little bit about me. I am an author. My name's Latasha. I'm an author, book coach. I'm an editor. I'm a public speaker, and I'm a book promoter. And I love helping people write their first book in 90 days or less with minimal stress. My favorite people are teacher people. So I specifically work with women over 40. Most of these women are educators because I spent 20 years in the classroom teaching. And so we speak the same language. I work with women over 40 because at that point, we start to kind of question ourselves, like we, meaning women. We start to say, what do I really want to be when I grow up? Because we realize that, we've spent 20 years in a career and it was fun and cool and exciting at first. But after about 20 years, it starts to get, a little dry. So we start to question everything. We start to question our beliefs, our values. We start to question our very identity gets called into question because we start to think about what are some of the other things that I could accomplish in my life? Like, I've already conquered this career. I've already conquered raising a family. Okay. I got the cars. I got the house. I got this. I got that. I got the retirement. I got the health insurance. Okay. I checked off all the boxes and I'm still not quite fulfilled. So what's next for me? And so this is a very important conversation. I love working with women over 40 because that's me. That's my story. I took myself from being a writer, just writing in my diary, to being an author. And then that opened lots of doors for me because then after I became an author, I was working as an author and as a teacher at the same time. And I was like, ooh, this is a lot. This is a lot. Promoting my book, pushing my book, selling my book, launching my book, along with teaching full-time and raising kids. Ooh, this is a lot. And so I was like, wow, okay, I'm going to have to start looking at doing some career pivots or something because I need more time and energy and space to be able to pursue the thing that I'm passionate about. And I didn't know at the time when I was being an author and being a teacher, I didn't know that coaching was actually going to be the thing that lit me up the most, right? Making a connection with another human being and watching their mind expand, that really is my jam. And so I didn't know that though until I published my first book. And so that's why I help people with their first book, because once you get that book done, that is your foundation. That is your platform, and you can elevate above that. And so This is what I've been able to do for myself, and it's what I've been able to help my clients achieve. And so I love it. I love it, love it, love it. So I want to talk to you today about your first 10K from your first book. And I want to read some statistics to you, so that you know what we're talking about. Um, I do a lot of research. I've spent a lot of time doing research from 2017 up to 2021 up to 2024. I've been reading, I've been researching, I've been studying, I've been doing a lot of thinking about this because I really want to give people the most valuable information that I can. And I want to give people the most up-to-date information that I can. So these statistics are from March 2023. So 12 months ago. And these numbers are still relevant today. They don't change very much. And so if you know someone who's an author, thinking about becoming an author, they have a book on the shelf, it's been dusty for 10 years, or they wrote it, or they're pregnant, they're still pregnant for 12 years like I was, give them this information, send this video to them, tag them in this video. I'm going to actually make this 6-part series a part of a program that I'm going to create in the future. So whoever needs to see this, get it to them right now, because these won't be available. These trainings won't be available on social media for long. Okay. So go ahead and get this information out to whoever needs it. And definitely, if you have questions, I will answer your questions as I'm teaching. I'm just that kind of teacher. If you have it, it's here and it's burning, type it in the comments and I will answer it right here. Okay, so let me give you the statistics. Okay, so first of all, there's been various studies comparing traditional authors to self-published authors. Okay, the traditionally published author is backed by a big, I think they call it the Big Five or the Big Six, huge publishing houses and printing presses, right? I won't say any of the names. You can Google what are the big publishing houses, right, in the history of the world or whatever. Those big traditional publishing houses, we call it traditional because these organizations represent the way that books used to be done. And so now with the invention of Amazon.com, book publishing, there's hybrid publishing, vanity press publishing. There's so many ways to publish a book in 2024. It's amazing. But this field of self-publishing has really exploded over the past 5 years as people find different ways to get their message out into the world. People don't want to wait around for a traditional publishing company to accept or reject their manuscript. People don't want to wait around anymore for anybody to give them permission to turn their book into a movie or turn it into a Netflix series. People don't want to wait around for that. And so we have a lot of self-published authors out here, bootstrappers, including myself, who are out here getting their message out on their own. And so there's been a lot of comparison between the traditional authors and the self-published authors. And sometimes self-published authors become traditionally published authors because they get the attention of the big companies. And the companies are like, hey, we need to get that person on our roster. And so let's offer them a contract. And so here's the breakdown, okay? Traditionally published authors make anywhere from 10 to 15% commission royalties off of their books. That's just a rough estimate. The number is actually 10, but depending on what company you're with and what your contract says, it could be up to 30. But the number is 10. For the self-published author, the number is 60%. And you might be like, whoa, that's a huge discrepancy. It is. And you're going to find out in a second why. The traditionally published author, when it comes to the amount of money per book, it's on average about $1.79 per book. Okay. When it comes to the self-published author, the earnings is about $5.74 per book. Huge discrepancy, right? Huge. Okay, let's keep going. The average yearly salary of a traditionally published author is $10,740.00. Okay. The average yearly income for a self-published author is $34,440.00. So as you can see, huge discrepancy. Like it looks like self-published authors make 3 times more than the traditionally published authors. And so there's a reason why, but just keep paying attention and I'm going to break it all down to you. The novelist, okay? The novelist, the person that writes novels, and especially in a series, right? And in the fiction category, the average income of a novelist is $49,000 for the year. Okay. It's getting better. It's not bad. It's getting better. Now, let's talk about the experienced people who have an expertise, people who have a large following. The things that determine your income, of course, is your experience, your subject matter, the terms of your contract, the number of book sales that are projected, your personality, your following, all that. It determines whether or not you're going to make anywhere from $15,000 a year to $127,800.00. That's the range. So you could have an author making $15,000 a year, and you could have an author making $127,000 a year. That's how wide the range is, and it really depends on you, your marketing, and your branding, and your ability to get your message out there. That's really what it boils down to. So it doesn't matter if you're a traditionally published author or if you're a self-published author. The marketing is mostly going to be from you. You sharing your message and talking to people about it. That's where the income is going to come from. Okay, so now that you know the average yearly salary of an author, okay, let's talk about the ways that authors get paid. Because, like I said, the book is just a platform. The book is a very important platform, but it gets your foot in the door. Okay, so let's talk about ways to get paid. All right, so one of the ways to get paid as an author is to obviously go out and sell your books. So go to events and get a vendor booth and set up your books with a display and have bookmarks and have pens and pencils and have things that accent your book. Have t-shirts and hats if you want. And make sure that you go to these events every 3 to 4 to 5 months, and make sure that you launch your book every 3 to 4 to 5 months so that people don't forget about you. Okay, so you should be going to at least 2 or 3 or 4 vendor events per year just to show your face and let people know, hey, I'm still here. This book is still great. It's wonderful. Here's what it's about, blah, blah, blah. Do that. You have to do that, okay? That is the one way that authors can make money. Another way for authors to make money is to establish an online presence and to sell your books online through your website, okay, through you. And so that means you're going to have to establish a social media following. You're going to have to talk to people online. You're going to have to send out, messages in the DMs, and you're going to have to get people interested in what you have to say. Okay. So sell your books online, sell your books in person. You can also go to events and you can offer to speak for free. And you can offer the organization that you're speaking for to buy your books in bulk at a discounted rate. And so that means you got to get out your negotiation cap and be able to really have positive and courageous conversations with people about spending money on your books. Okay. Letting them see what your books are about. Get going. And this is going to take you some months of negotiations and some paperwork and contracts and talking and going back and forth through email. So that process needs to happen like way before it's time for you to publish the book. You need to be having these conversations as soon as you get the idea in your mind to write this book. You need to be thinking about who needs this book and where are the organizations where these people exist and how can I get in front of them as fast as possible, even before the book is done. Okay, so there's that. Another way that authors can make money is through creating their own workshops and going to libraries and teaching and using the book as the curriculum. Okay, this is a wonderful opportunity to connect with people, and it's a great time for you to have intimate, small group conversations and really dig deep into the mind of the person who wants to read the book. And this is where you're going to be doing your market research to find out what is it that these people really want? What is it that they need? What's keeping them up at night? Because you could possibly come up with some ideas for the next book by having these conversations in these little intimate settings. Okay. So there's just a few ways to make money from your book. And now I want to shift over and I want to talk about the mindset that you need to have in order to be successful with your book journey. Okay. So your mind, you need to get this into your mind right away. When you have a book that you're writing, the book is not for you. It's for your audience. Okay. It's not for you. So I want you to think about what to put in the book that's going to be the most relevant for people, the most relevant for your audience. Okay. What is going to be the answer to their prayers, the solution to their problem? That's what goes in the book. So you need to do some market research ahead of time, and you need to find out who is going to need to hear your message, your story. And you could write a story about your life, but what are the lessons of your life that other people can relate to? That's what you got to think about. So your mindset needs to shift from, oh, this is my book and it's my story. No, it's a universal message, and it has a universal overarching theme that people are going to love. Okay? So you have to think about that. And if you need support with that, I can coach you through that process of figuring out what message is going to resonate and who your target audience is. And so if you have questions, email me right away, contact@LatashaJemersonLibrary.com, and I can support you with this process of figuring out who your target audience is. Because if you don't figure that out ahead of time and you think that this book is just for you, you're not going to sell any copies because you're going to be thinking it's for you, and it's not about you, boo. It's about your audience. Okay? Here's another mindset shift that I need you to make right now. If you write a book and you're going to spend hours and weeks and days and months poring over the manuscript, okay? You're going to spend time going back and forth with your editor. You're going to spend a lot of time really digging deep into the nitty-gritty crevices of this book. And so if you're going to do all of this work, you might as well be compensated. And you might as well be compensated at a high level. So I need you to have the expectation in your mind right now that you're going to charge $20 for this book. It's not going to be anything less than $20. Keep that in your mind, because I tried to sell my books for $14.99 thinking I was helping people out. And my colleagues and my church mates and my neighbors and my friends and my family members kept saying, why are you selling this book for $14.99? Here's $20. Keep the change. And I was like, but I want to make it affordable for people. They're like, no, I'm going to go pull out a $20 bill from the ATM right now and pay you for this book. Keep the $5 or whatever it is, the $5.99 or the $4.99 or whatever it is with a penny, four with a penny, $4.99, whatever it was, $4.01. They were like, or $5.01. I was like, $14.99 is a fair price. And people kept giving me $20 bills. And I was like, okay, why are they giving me, it's only $14.99. They're like, keep the change. And I was shortchanging myself and I didn't think very highly of myself. And so I was lowballing my own potential. So don't do that. Just think $20 is the price of your book. You could even do above and beyond that if you want to, but just $20 is the bare minimum. Okay. All right. Here's another thing that I need you to make a mental shift on right now. I want you to give yourself 5 to 6 months to sell 500 books. Okay. I want you to just put that in your head. I want you to give yourself 5 or 6 months to sell 500 books. And I want you to charge $20 because 500 books times $20 is $10,000. And that's what I want you to just get in your head. 5 months, 500 books, $20 each, $10,000. There you go. Boom. So if you average that out, you're selling about 100 books a month. Now you might be like, dang, that's a lot. That's a lot. And it is a lot because if you look at it this way, most authors, and I'll just talk about self-published right now because I have a lot of experience. Over the past 7 years, I've been working on my own self-publishing business and I've been helping other people establish theirs. And on average, within about from 2017 to 2020, I sold about 500 books and that took 3 years. Okay. And now I know how to do that faster and I know how to do that more efficiently and I know how to do it to where it's seamless. And so I want to give you this mental shift and I want you to tell yourself the goal is 500 books out the gate on the first book. Okay. And that way you can build a solid foundation. So if you want to have a second book, this first book can finance the second book if that's what you want to do. I don't recommend that you start another book until you've hit 10K with the first one. Okay. So that's another mind shift for you. Another mind shift that I need you to make is that when you have a book, you have a product. I call books book products because they're products. Whenever you're exchanging money for something, it's a product. It's a product or a service. Okay. So you're providing a product for people. And so I need you to make that mental shift. It's come out of your mind of it's just your story. It's a product. Okay. And when you have a product, you have a business. And when you have a business, you have to make sales in order to stay in business. So your book is a product. Okay. And you are a business owner. All right. And as a business owner, you need to make sales in order to stay in business. Otherwise, you're wasting your time. And so get that in your mind, put that in your pipe and smoke it. And remember that. Write that down, put it on your refrigerator, put it on a sticky note. When I have a book, I have a business. When I have a business, I have products. When I have products, I need to sell. Otherwise, I'm not in business, period. Okay. If you can make those mental shifts, then you can get this 10K done quickly. If you're struggling with making these mental shifts, you're not going to make this 10K very quickly. It's going to be a slow, long, painful, excruciating process. How do I know? Because I lived through it. It took me from 2017 to 2020 to sell 500 books. How do I know? Because I was checking my dashboard on Amazon.com every month. I was running a sales report. I was looking at how much money I was making. I was looking at what was coming in, what was going out. I was paying attention to my spending. I was putting it on my taxes. So I had a, regular teacher salary that I got, taken care of with my taxes. Then I had a business with my books. And so I started really paying attention to that 2017, 2020. And it was about 500 books. And for most self-published authors, that's about all they're going to sell for the entire lifetime of them being authors, because they don't have a strategy and they don't know how to launch efficiently and effectively. So I want to transition now into how to launch, because there's a big myth there's a lot of myths when it comes to launching. What is a launch? What is a launch, right? So let's talk about that, because a lot of people use this word launch and people get confused. So I want you to think about NASA. I want you to think about space travel. I want you to think about the launch pad. When the rocket goes, psh, it gets launched. It's like a springboard that pushes it up, right? When you launch your book, this is a springboard. This is momentum. And how long does it take to get up to the moon? I don't know. But it doesn't happen immediately, right? And so for your book, you're creating a launch, you're creating momentum so that the book sales go whoop. And you don't want the book sales to go up and down. You want them to stay up, right? When they got outside of our atmosphere and they got into the moon, they didn't just come right back right away, right? And so the point is, when you launch your book, you want your sales to stay there, and you want them to stay there for as long as you can, like an artist that wants to top the charts. They don't want to just be at the top of the charts for 2 days. They want to be at the top of the charts for several weeks, several months. And that's where the awards come in, the accolades come in, the sales come in. When you are able to launch and keep your book afloat, because there are over 3,000 authors. I think the last time I checked, over 3,000 authors on Amazon, and hundreds of thousands of titles for readers to choose from. Lots of different categories, and it's still a billion-dollar industry. So if you can just get a little sliver of that, if you can get 0.5% of that billion-dollar industry, you're doing all right. So you want to launch your book, and you want to do it the right way. And you definitely want to make sure that the people that you invite into this launching experience are the right people. And so I'm going to give you a formula that I created for my clients. And this formula is going to help you get yourself to a point where you can be selling 100 books a month. Okay. Or you can sell, whatever your goal is, you can sell 50 books a month. You can sell 25 books a month. But the name of the game is you want to sell books every month. Okay. When you have this launch party, the launch party is going to allow you to get attention, get eyeballs on your stuff. Okay. All right. So let me give you a quick formula for how you're going to get yourself to 10K. All right. From your first book. So the very first thing that I teach my clients, number one, is you have to know who is your target audience. And I teach bullseye. You've got 3 target audiences. You've got the core audience in the middle, and then you've got the outer audience, which is connected to the folks that are in the middle. And then you've got the outer core audience, who are connected to the people who are in the bullseye area. in your core. So for me, I'll tell you who my audience is. Because I was a teacher for 20 years, many of the folks that are in my audience are educators. Okay. It's just because I'm a teacher. It's in my blood. It's in my DNA. And so when people see me coming, they know she's a teacher. For some reason, it must be the glasses, or I don't know what it is, but the earrings. But people know I'm a teacher by the way that I speak and by the way that I carry myself and the fact that I'm always teaching a class. So my core audience are teachers. That's my core. Okay. Now, who are these teachers? They're also women over 40 who are women of color and who are at the point where they're thinking to themselves, I've had a successful career. What else is there? I've got a bunch of college degrees. What else is there? I'm always creating content. How can I monetize this, right? How can I get more fulfillment out of life? What's next for me? Like we're inquisitive. We're very nosy, right? We love to read. We love facts. We love figures. We love data. We love to share and learn and all that good stuff, expand and grow. And we love to serve people. So those are the people that are my main people, my people that are in my core, right there in the bullseye. And then if you go outside of that circle, there's another circle. And those are the people that are connected to teachers. So those are students. Those are other teachers. Those are parents. Those are administrators. Those are community members, church members, everybody that's connected to the teachers. Those are also people who are in my target audience. Okay, so those are my two target audiences. And then on the outer are writers, people who love to create, creatives, right? Creatives who love to write poetry, love to write blog posts, love to create articles. A lot of these folks are PhDs who love to do research. That is my target audiences, those three: teachers, people connected to teachers, and then writers, researchers, creatives, servant leaders, ministers, pastors, preachers also fit into this category. These are the folks that I speak to. My marketing speaks to these folks. And so everything that I do is for my audience. The classes that I create, the books that I write, the talks that I deliver, they all have something to do. The posting that I do on LinkedIn and Facebook, all of the articles that I've written, the blog posts that I've done when I had a blog, they all have to do with self-publishing and monetizing what's up here. Taking these ideas, putting them into a bottle, wrapping them up with a big bow, and selling it. That's what I teach. So you need to understand who your target audience is. That's number one. If you don't know who your target audience is, I want you to think about these three questions. Question number one, who needs your message? Okay? Who needs your message? So for me, creatives need my message because I teach them how to sell what's in here so that they're not starving artists anymore. They're actually making multiple streams of income from the streams of ideas that are coming out of their heads, right? Here's the next question. Who has a problem? Who has a problem that you can solve? For my audience, the problem is not knowing how to sell, having a book on the shelf and having the irritation, the frustration and the disappointment of having a bunch of books on the shelf that are dusty and no one is buying them. That's the pain that my audience is in. And so I speak to that, and that's what I share. Okay. Here's the other thing you need to understand and think about. Who is willing to pay for your solution? Who are the people that make investments in themselves and they already buy books? This is good. Thank you. I can't see your name. So I want to give you a shout out. Please type your name so I can give you a shout out because I'm not sure who's in the room or not. I see I have some eyeballs, but I don't know who. So thank you for that. Thank you for the comment. I appreciate it. Who's willing to pay? Who look around your circle? Who keeps asking you questions? Those are probably the people that are like this. They're a part of your target audience. They want to know whatever they want to know, whatever questions they ask you, answer the questions, right? So for me, I'll give you an example. For me, when I wrote my memoir in 2017 and I launched myself into the world as an author, I was afraid. I didn't know what was going to happen. I thought people were going to laugh at me, think I was stupid, not have an interest. I think I was boring, whatever. All these little negative things went through my head. But what I learned was people started asking me lots of really good questions, and I started taking notes. Hey, Antoinette Bell. Hello. Welcome, beautiful queen. So glad you're here. Can't wait to see you in the writing clinic tomorrow night. Woo, woo. Writing clinic, 2-hour writing, sharing. Get your journal prompts. I have those journal prompts all organized and all together in a journal. And the journal's only $8. So if y'all want to get it, let's get it. I'll drop the link. Let me know. And yes, thank you, Antoinette Bell, for being in the room. I appreciate you. What's up, beautiful queen? Have to give people shout outs because you could be on any channel, but you're here with me. You're with me on LTTV. And I appreciate it. I don't take it for granted, ever. So you need to know target audience. You need to know who is in your circle and what do they keep asking you? Like people kept asking me, are you going to write another book? And I was like, no, that was hard. I struggled. That was a challenge. I don't know what I was doing. And they were like, yeah, you need to write another book. And I was like, and then I started saying, well, what do you want me to write a book about? And some people said, write a book about self-care. And so I wrote that. I wrote a book about self-care. And they're like, okay, write a book about teaching. And I was like, all right, I wrote a book about teaching. And then I wrote a book about parenting. And then I wrote a book about something else and public speaking. And then I wrote a book about how to survive under COVID and with a bunch of other teachers. And so I was just like, oh my gosh, this is so amazing. But what they really wanted to know, I found out after my 5th book. I had 5 books out and I was like, oh, what do people really want to know? The $1 million question that people had for me had nothing to do with my memoir, nothing to do with my book on parenting or teaching or self-care. People wanted to know from me, how in the world do you publish a book? And I was like, I got it. And so I said, okay, I'm going to roll up my sleeves. I'm going to do some research and I'm going to find out the most effective way to publish a book right now. And I put it into an online course. I packaged it up. I sold it. And then that actually launched my coaching career because people were like, oh, the course is nice. The book is nice, but I really just want to work with you. And so I was like, okay, so what is this? So I had to start doing research and found out, hey, this is called coaching. So I started a whole coaching program around the question of how do you publish a book? And then they're like, how do you publish a book so fast? Because I was publishing 1 book a year. And then I was publishing 2 books a year. And then I was publishing 1 book a month. And people were like, what in the world are you doing? And so I was like, let me break it down for you. Let me break it down for you again. And so I did that. And so you've got to know your target audience. And that means you've got to have a lot of conversations and you can't be afraid to use this and speak up. You need to be loud and proud and be excited about what it is that you're doing. And you need to not be afraid to show up. See, scared money don't make money. You scared about getting up talking to people, you ain't gonna make no money. I'm just gonna tell you that right now. This is competitive. This is competitive and it can be excruciatingly painful. So you better get used to being loud. And you better get used to talking to people and asking people questions and being vulnerable and taking their feedback. Because if part of your book ain't that good, you need to hear that. I've heard all kinds of comments about my books, good, bad, ugly, indifferent, neutral, whatever. And you got to take all of it and you've got to take it into account and make your stuff better. Okay. So your target audience is very, very important for you to get to your first 10K from your first book. Okay. And again, this is a part of a series. You're not going to get everything from today. This is part one of what you need to know about getting your books sold and out into the world and off of the shelf. Okay. A lot of people get their books put on the shelf because they get discouraged and they give up because it's hard writing a book. It's hard bearing your soul. It's hard putting things that are here onto the paper so other people can understand it. It's hard to do that. So by the time you do that, you don't feel like marketing or selling. And so let me shift over into the second part of what you've got to do. The first part is you have to identify your target audience. So that's TA. Number two, I'm going to call this VU. Okay. You need to know what venue, VENUE. You need to know what venue to go to show up so that your people will know about your book. Okay. So you need to plan this ahead of time before your book is even done. You need to know, where are these people going to be hanging out? So you know your target audience. Where are they? So for me, let's go back to my audience. My audience, they hang out at the library. They hang out in schools. They hang out at coffee shops. They hang out at bookstores. They hang out in Facebook groups. They hang out on podcasts, and they hang out in Zoom rooms. Those are my folks. You got to find out, where are your folks at? And you got to go hang out wherever they are. Most of my folks are on Facebook, so I spend a lot of time on Facebook. There's a few sprinklings that are on Instagram and Twitter and TikTok, but not a whole lot. So I spend most of my time on Facebook and LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a good place because educators are there, professionals are there, PhDs are there, right? And those are people that are in my audience. Now, you've got to write down a list of places where your people go. So you need to know how old these people are or how young they are. You need to know, like, what do they buy? The people who I hang out with, we buy books. So it's a no-brainer, right? We buy books. We buy college degrees. That means we want education and we want to be better. We buy coaching services. Okay. You got to know what your people buy. And so that's number two, venue. And then number three, don't be afraid of this. And I'm going to actually dig deep into this in the next part. I'm just going to give you a little breadcrumb right now, because I just want to plant the seed. This has already been over 40 minutes. This is a lot of information. I want you to sit back and process this. And I want you to watch this video multiple times because I'm giving you a lot of very dense content, and it's a lot. It's a lot. This is 7 years of me studying self-publishing. So you're not going to get it all in one shot. Number three, you need to do pre-sales. Don't be afraid to do pre-sales. A lot of people are afraid because they're like, I don't have a book. Why am I selling something and I don't have a book? Think about it. Think about the companies that you buy from, and you buy it first and then you get the product later. Just think about it. All the places where you go, where you give them the money first and then they deliver the product a little bit later. Just think about that. That's what you're doing. You're a business owner, right? So you're going to sell 50 books at $20 a piece, and you're going to make $1,000 during your pre-sales. That should be your goal. So you're going to go to your target audience. You're going to find out who they are. You're going to go to the venue and you're going to hang out and you're going to do some pre-sales and let them know, look, I have a book coming out. I have a VIP list. Would you like to be on the VIP list? And what that looks like is I'm going to sign your book and I'm going to put something special in there for you. And you're going to get your book when it comes in a couple of weeks. And you're going to tell them, hey, if you have a sister or a grandmother or a cousin who needs this message, I'm going to, you can buy 2 for the price of 1 or however you want to do it. Buy 1, get 1 half off. And you can do something like that. And then you put a message in there, you make it special, and that's your pre-sale. Okay. Now, people are afraid of pre-sales because you get scared that something's going to happen to the book and it's not going to come out. And then you're like, damn, I took these people's money and I don't have a product to give them. Oh my gosh. And that is a very legitimate concern. But just know that your book is going to come out. If you've done everything you're supposed to do and you've hired the editor and you've got the cover designed and it looks good and it's awesome, it's going to come out. It might be delayed. Okay, there's usually a delay. But just be confident in yourself that it's going to come out. You're going to produce the book if that's what you've signed up to do. It's going to come out. It might be late, might be early. You can't control when, but you know the what and the why. So go ahead and pre-sale. So to give you a summary, to get your first 10K from your first book, you're going to identify your target audience. You're going to go to the venue where they hang out. You're going to do pre-sales. Those are the 3 steps. Step. Target audience, venue, pre-sales. When you do that and you give yourself 5 to 6 months, you're going to get the 10K. Okay. You're going to hit the 500 books. Just put that in your mind that that's what's going to happen right now and just make a decision. That's what's going to happen, period. Give yourself no other options. Don't allow yourself to make any excuses, and it's going to get done. Okay. That's all I have for you today. Tomorrow or whenever I get ready to do part 2, I'll let you know. I'll put something out on social media. Part 2 is going to be all about the launch party because it's my favorite part. Okay. It's the whole part 2 is going to be how to launch it effectively, how to launch it quickly, how to launch it effortlessly, how to launch it to where people talk about your launch for years. That's what you want. You want your launch to be the event of the century. Okay. And you want it to be so much fun that people keep asking you, when is the next one? That's what I'm going to talk about in the next part of this series. So thank you so much for joining me for your first 10K from your first book. It is what it is. It's going to be done. So be it. Put it in your pipe and smoke it. Put it in your brain and imagine it. And let's get ready to get this party going for you because you deserve it. You've worked so hard on this book. You've been pregnant for so many years with this book. You can feel it. You can feel it, you can smell it, you can taste it, you can hear it. You've seen the cover, you know the cover's in your mind's eye. You've imagined yourself being on stage. You've imagined yourself in the back of the room signing copies of the book and collecting cash and collecting credit. You've seen it already. It's in your mind's eye. You already know what's going to happen. You just haven't had an opportunity to work with someone who can actually get it done for you. You haven't had an opportunity to sit and learn, right? Antoinette Bell says, yes, you haven't had a chance to get with a coach who's going to hold you by the hand and walk you through this journey step by step by step. And it's going to be baby steps, but baby steps are still steps. And you're going to get there. You just need someone who's cheering you on and not allowing you to fall and fail. And when you do fall, you're falling forward. When you do fall, because you will, you got somebody to help you dust yourself off and say, that was a doozy. Let's do it again. You all have had this friend. I have this friend that I've had since I was 12 years old. You all have this friend. And y'all go out, y'all used to go out when you was 10 and 11 and 12 and 13, and you will go jump over these fences, and you will go jump into backyards and do crazy stuff that you know you shouldn't have been doing, and you jumped in cars with boys. I know I'm not the only one that was jumping in cars with boys and hanging out at the beach with boys, right? And sneaking into the barracks. Oh, did I say that? You know, and panhandling. You know you was doing that at 13, 14, 15, and doing a bunch of stuff you know you shouldn't have been doing and getting your ass in trouble. Okay, now I'm just telling on myself now. Getting yourself in trouble and then telling your friend, that was a close one. Shit, we almost got caught that time. Ooh. And then guess what? I promise I'll never do it again, ever, 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 ever. And then the next weekend you go do the same old stuff. Because you got your ride or die. You got your ride or die. You and your ride or die are doing dirt, and you doing it well. Doing it and doing it and doing it well. You know you've done that. And so why don't you do this for a good cause? Why don't you use your superpowers for good and create this damn book and launch it into the world and be successful and bless the people that were assigned to you? See, if you're still watching me, you're assigned to me. You're a part of my assignment. I love you. You are a part of my assignment. You are a part of why I get up every morning and do this. You're the reason why I serve at a high level. You're the reason why I love what I do. Because I do it for you, boo, and with you. And so if you know you've been listening to me and you're like, okay, look, let me just stop. Let me quit playing. I need to stop playing and actually hire somebody who can help me get this book edited, formatted, beta tested by beta readers, cover design, launch party, first 10K with your first book. Let me go on and hire somebody who can help me just get this thing done and get it done the right way. So I can go on and get on stage and help people and share with people the message that I have in my heart that has been there for so long. And I just need to get it done. If that's you and you're ready, you need to email me right away so we can get your party started. Okay. I already have 2 authors who are releasing their books in the month of April. And so you're going to see a lot of buzz around my social media because I'm so proud of these 2 ladies. They've been working really hard on their manuscripts. And so I only work with a certain number of people per year. So if you want to get your book done in 2024, you need to come into my world now. If you know that you want to get your book done in 2025, then you have a little bit of wiggle room where you can wait. Okay. But those of you, you know, you're ready to get it done now. You need to be in my world now. Okay. You need to get in my world now. So email me, contact@LatashaJemersonLibrary.com. And I want you to put in the subject line, please help me. Just put, please help me, because I will help you. I will help you get your life all the way right. I'll help you write right. I'll help you get your mind right so you can write right. And I hope you get your book out so you can make the money that you need to be making to be able to be a full-time author. Okay? That's an incredible feeling, is to be able to do this full-time. Okay? All right, so that's all I have to teach you. I'll see you again for part 2, and I'll make that announcement when part 2 is coming out. Once again, share this video with anyone who needs it, because this is not going to be available for too long. I'm going to be putting this inside of a vault and creating a program and making it only available to the people who invest in that program. And so, yeah, it's been fun. That's it. Have a wonderful afternoon. I'll see you in the next one.